Okay, we're on to the good stuff on pay. So you're paid twice a month, on the 1st and the 15th. The check on the 1st, the pay period ends on the 24th before that pay period, so we have time to run payroll. And then on the 15th, the pay period ends on the 9th before. Your checks can come by direct deposit, or you can do a hard copy check. Staff schedules you must request off by the 5th for the following month. If you have an issue after that, you're going to need to come up with a shift trade that gets approved by your boss. That's on the last paragraph of that page. Exchanging shifts, so we have a way that you can have someone both sign a form when you trade a shift, so that now the responsibility lies on them for that shift, and you're not worried that, oh my goodness, will they show up? So timesheets, you have time cards that are electronic, but you record your time in and your time out. It has to be accurate. Obviously, if you falsified those records or had someone else you're clocking in or clocking out, you would lose your job, so don't do that. It's your password. It's only your password. You don't have to share it with anyone. You should never share it with anyone. You should record your off-the-clock time, your breaks, and your lunch and things like that, and accurately. And then if you have any mess-ups, or let's say mistakes on that time card, maybe you forgot to clock out the day before, there's a different way that we handle that in writing, so that you can say, hey, I should have clocked out the day, or I forgot to clock in this day. If for some reason you forgot to clock in or clock out and it becomes a chronic problem, you can read what happens there, because it is part of your job. If you're messing that up routinely, you're going to have to do something to remind yourself, because you could lose your job, and especially could lose hours for forgetting to clock in and clock out on a chronic basis. It does happen enough even when it's not chronic. Deductions, so we have all those standard deductions that you have for taxes depending on how you filled out your forms. I'll move on down to overtime. So all overtime must be authorized in writing by the executive director, director of admin, or your boss. So if you have a schedule that has you listed as going into overtime, totally fine, but it's your responsibility, if you are going to go into overtime and it's not in writing somewhere, that you get that in writing that it's okay, because overtime can be extremely expensive to an organization. Payroll is the most expensive cost to any organization. So attendance, punctuality, and attendance. It's critically important on this part. I'm going to go to the bold paragraph. If you're unable to work for any reason, please notify your direct supervisor, and you should know who that is, by calling him or her on his or her personal cell phone, or calling them at the hospital as early as possible before the starting time. If you wait till the starting time or 5 minutes after and you call and say, hey, I'm going to be late, or I can't come to work today, you're already too late. I want to go down to the specific results of absentee and tardiness. If you're less than 15 minutes late, or more than 3 times in a 30-day period, you could lose your job. So please come in on time. If you're more than 15 minutes late, you could be subject to termination if you're more than 15 minutes late again in the next 30 days, or less than 15 minutes twice in the next 30 days. And if number 3, employees who are absent or late who do not contact their direct supervisor prior could be subject to termination. Obviously, you need to call. And we do account for emergencies. If you have a documented emergency, you got in a car accident, something happened, we understand that. And then absences for the following reasons are not considered excessive, so are not considered to be counted against employees. So if you have basically a documented absence like jury duty, family emergency with proof, illness where you went to the doctor, we're not going to count that against you. But on those other ones where you're just not feeling well, or you had something come up and you couldn't come to work and you don't have any documentation for it, more than 5 of those in a 12-month period are considered excessive, because we need you here. And if you're not here more than 5 times in a year, we're going to just have to find somebody that's a little more dependable. And it's not anything against you. I would hope that you would have the conversation with your direct supervisor prior to that and say, hey, something's coming, something's going on where I'm not able to come to work as much as I need to.